Y'all are so funny. I'm glad y'all getting a lot of laughs out of this and a lot of ideas. Shaq, can you hear me? Shaq. Tell him to initiate. Tell him she's ready to.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. I'm giving you a quick live. Listen, the last one that I just did, I was knackered, I was tired. I didn't get to give you the fullness of what I wanted to give you guys. I didn't get to say all that I wanted to say. So let me break it all the way down now officially. So if you want to hear my thoughts, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you click on the bell button for notifications of the uploads. And let's have a real conversation about this Kirsten and Shaq situation. Because let me be honest with you. Okay, I've been doing videos to make us understand where Kirsten's coming from, but I can't defend her behavior, kids. You get me? Now, of course, I've only seen bits and bobs of the actual show because they haven't released the show for us yet, so I've not been able to watch the whole thing. But just bits and bobs I've picked up of conversation. Something I wanted to bring up to point as well, right? I think we are all glad that we can understand somebody, but it doesn't mean I have to date you, and it doesn't mean I have to marry you. Yeah, just because I get a better understanding of you does not mean I have to date you or marry you. And I take that to say that looking at Shaq and looking at Kirsten, I'm not about to start breaking down barriers. You don't like me from the start, I don't need to be here. I'm not trying to break you down. I think, again, I hate this aspect of persistence. No, I'm all about consistency, which is you've allowed me in and I'm going to be consistent with it. I'm not going to be persistent, trying to keep on knocking your walls down. Now, I want to bring back something that was really interesting, because I remember a conversation earlier on in the beginning of the season when Shaq kissed her on the cheek, and she was like, well, I would have wanted him to tell me, to ask me if he can kiss me. And then when they asked her, would you have kissed him, she was like, like you were shirking on the fence. So just because I've begun to understand a little bit more about Kirsten and where you're coming from, doesn't mean I'm going to now want to date you. Does not mean that you're now dateable to me. It just means I have more empathy for you. And I'm looking at the Shaq and the Kirsten situation, and I'm like, to be honest, to be honest, I don't think it's fair on an individual to have everything getting knocked down with you, with this person. They consistently find things wrong with you, and you got to keep on trying. No, it doesn't work. You're wasting your time, and that's the biggest issue. That's the biggest thing as well. Like I'm trying to get people to understand. Like, you don't want to waste your time, and you are wasting your time when you try to keep breaking down walls of somebody. When you have to keep on breaking down those walls, the majority of people that do this don't win. They don't win, right? They don't win. So I'm not encouraging anybody to keep on knocking down walls. When you have to keep barraging and foraging, and keep on trying to prove yourself to somebody. Because the more you have to prove yourself, the more less worthy you're going to become, right? If you're going to keep on going through the ringer and going through tests and trials and tribulations and the 10 plagues of this particular person's life, I can guarantee you're not going to be the savior at the end. If anything, you're going to be pushed far aside. So, I think this particular situation with Kirsten and Shaq, I'm not going to say that Shaq hasn't, contributed. I'm not going to say Shaq hasn't got things to work on. I'm not going to say that at all. What I'm saying is, let's point out the actual obvious. Like, she's not redeemable at this moment. Like, I know people want to make her redeemable. Like I said, Shaq's got some issues to work with. I believe that Shaq's got some things he's got to do. Okay, but Kirsten's has not been redeemed because we acknowledge that Shaq's got things that he needs to work on. You know what I mean? Like, she's not redeemed. And I think even on this particular episode here, and I'll be honest with you, it's fair. It's a fair conversation to talk about masculinity. I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna be mad at the fact that it was an honest conversation about masculinity. But I think, again, it pinpoints what I was saying about how we are missing some of the vital things with Kirsten that are a little bit annoying. It's the double standards and it's the gaslighting for me consistently, which is proven to be that your behavior is not becoming of somebody who's supposed to be in a relationship. We started off with the whole trip in Jamaica, honeymoon, and you've questioned my humor about me being too funny and the way I'm being funny. And then now we're having a conversation and you're trying to be funny with the whole house situation. So you get to do what you want to do on your time, but when I do it, it can't run. And that method of control doesn't work in a relationship, in a healthy one at that. Okay. All right. So this whole I'm questioning if you have grown in attraction, the way you're treating him doesn't tell me that though. Do you see what I'm saying to you? If you've grown in attraction, what the way you're behaving does not tell me that you've grown in attraction. Is this how women behave when they've grown in attraction? Come on. We know that's not how they behave. This is not how they behave when they're attracted to you. What she's doing is not somebody who's attracted to you. Okay, right? She's not attracted to him. She still isn't attracted to him, and she hasn't grown. What she's done is settled, and that's completely different, right? And what she's doing at the same time as she's settled is try to almost usurp some things from him and draw out some things from him. This is unattractive. Now we're going to deal with the masculinity issue because I wanted to talk about that because that's a real thing, and we can really break that down. And I was, a little bit. I was knackered on the last live, so I didn't really get to go deep into it as well. The only thing that Kirsten has seen is what can I get out of this opportunity? Whilst I'm here, what can I get out? This is going to end in a divorce in 5 to 10 years time, maybe even 15 when she's had kids, and the reality was she didn't fancy him. Now, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I can't wait to do the breakdown of Tyrese and Samantha Lee, because I said what I said about Tyrese, about the fact that there are some problems with Tyrese. But when I started doing more research into Samantha Lee, I said, no, this woman is a problem. No, she's a problem. She's a problem. And the fact that she doesn't have an answer for why, don't really have an answer why she left the marriage, tells me she a problem. Right? So, for me, I'm looking at Kirsten's situation, and I'm just being honest. Old girl does not like him. You know what I mean? Old girl does not like him. And the masculinity aspect too, is a part of that. Okay? The masculinity issue is a part of that. And like I said, it sounds like she want a bit of a fuck. I'm telling y'all, I said it. She like a bit of a thug. I'm just gonna be real with you. She like a little bit of a thug, baby. She don't like a bit of a thug, baby. She like a little bit of a thug, baby. Thugalicious, baby. I know people don't like it. They want to say that she wants. Listen, the way she bigs up her father, I'm like, interesting. You know what I mean? Like, that's why that conversation went to about being her dad is tough. What has Shaq shown that he's not tough about, right? What has Shaq shown that he's not tough, right? What part of Shaq has he shown that he's not tough? I'm not even talking about, okay, we know that he may do some things that are mannerisms that are a bit more feminine. I'll agree with that. We know that Shaq is more in the more passive aggressive, which is more feminine. We agree that he can be a little bit petty, which is feminine. We agree that. Okay, but which part of it was not tough? Which part? How did you describe your dad as being tough, but you described you didn't describe your partner in that way, but you want to describe your dad as tough? Tough how? Tough how? This girl lacks a thug, man. She lacks a thug, man. She lacks a thug, man. She likes a thug, man. I'm just telling you that she likes a thug. You know, and you know, she likes those medium thugs. You know, they're thugs, but not necessarily hoodlums. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of a thug in them, but not hoodlum. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference. I'm not saying she wants. Let me be a little bit real here and say language is very important, right? Language is very important. Now, Um, I'm not sure if the doc had that conversation, because actually I haven't been able to watch the whole episode. But a language shift should have happened. What she needed to say in terms of what she actually wanted was somebody who was more assertive. And the language is very much important because it denotes how you tend to see the world. So if you're able to articulate it, you're almost able, you're better placed to be able to receive it. Now, you don't need a more what you need, well, you can say masculine, but what you're really saying is, I need someone a little bit more assertive. This is what you're asking for, right? And unfortunately, this is the same thing that happened with Karen on the last few episodes of Miles. What you're really saying is, I need someone a bit more assertive. And the key difference between masculine and assertive is that masculine covers the whole branch of aspects of behaviors, whereas assertive covers the specific behavior. What you're asking for is a more assertive man, right? That's what you're asking for, right? That's what you're asking for. So you need a more assertive individual person. Do you get it? And it's important to define it this way. Because if you don't define the actual behavior you're looking for, describing it as he's not masculine is a wrong definition. It's a wrong definition. So, like for instance, say if I say she's more masculine, I'm going to say to you, well, and the reason why she's more masculine is because her guard is up. So, in terms of improving his masculinity, what he needs to do is be more assertive. That is what he needs, right? He needs that without it becoming passive aggressive. That's what he needs to do. So his passivity becomes passive aggressive. So, for instance, when they had their conversation about the house situation, it became a little bit passive aggressive when he said, "Chew it, you're chewing your mouth open." Da, da, da. It became nitty bitty rather than just saying, "Hey, this is how I feel. I'm not happy with the way that you said what you said." Do you know what I'm saying to you? Right? So in that instance, it's not very quote unquote. If you want to increase your masculinity, you do it without passive aggressiveness. Um, so choosing your words is very important. Sean is going to panda like there's no tomorrow. Guys, don't listen to Sean. Don't even listen to Sean. Sean is invested in getting his end goal. Sean is gonna get his end goal. Don't listen to him. He's using dark arts right now. You guys don't follow what Sean is saying to you in the chat. He's using absolute dark arts in this moment. He'd be the first one to call you lot out. He'd be the first one to call you lot out. So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the rocks that he's got. He's still Sean. He's still Sean from the block. Okay, he's still Sean from the block. Don't let it fool you guys. He's got an agenda. Okay, so I just want to let you know. Okay, that brother's got an agenda. Okay, and you'll find out soon. But no, all jokes aside, I think the there's nothing wrong. I get where I do get aspects of where Kirsten's coming from in terms of what she wants. I think it just needs to be worded appropriately. Um, I think it needs to be worded appropriately. So I think that's the key part, right? So to say he wants to be more masculine, I think we need to just fair enough, but then let's describe what behavior is needed. Do you know what I mean? So if we're saying he needs to be more masculine, what behavior needs to be improved? Do you know what I'm saying? I think that would have been better place. But we can look at the video anyway and look at it. But I think the actual aspect of what we're going through is that this whole situation, I think is it looks worse because of the whole situation pre this point. How Kirsten has behaved, it makes it feel worse with now the question of the masculinity. So it's not uh it's not how do I say, it's not I don't know how to say it in a better way. Let me leave that before I say something I shouldn't say. Let me play the clip before I say something I shouldn't say. Okay. But I want to play that clip again and from the beginning.
Allowing your husband to take care of you or care for you?
I do. I do feel comfortable. I'm feeling more comfortable day by day. It's just all so new for me.
Yeah.
So obviously, I want to get to the part of the conversation where, where they talk about the.
But I find him attractive when he's like, for example, when we had to get our clothes and move, like him moving boxes. It was attractive. Smallest things.
So I think if we break this down a little bit more, so she's saying when he does certain things, when he does certain things, this is when he becomes most attractive to her. So when he's lifting boxes, when he's taken charge, when he's taking the lead in a sense, right? I think this is the situation here is really, really interesting, right? Because I think we need to go deeper to be able to articulate what she really is wanting from him. Yeah. Right. So I think that's also really important. I think this is a case of like, let's break this down a little bit more in terms of, okay, so you want him to you like when he lists boxes, what is that behavior then? So we need to, I think the therapist needs to draw that out in terms of what that behavior is and what that requires. So there's actually some headway made between the two of them. So I question that. Elsid said, how does she have control with masculine men of her past? The way she would control is that she withheld her feelings. That's all. She withheld her emotions. And even sometimes the most masculine men, if they're attracted to a woman, they can be not necessarily controlled, but they will stay in a relationship like that because they started chasing the prize of being able to prize her open. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So I think that when she dates those type of men who may be more masculine per se, all right, she also stops her guard coming down, and that creates that mystery and creates that little bit of a distance between herself and another guy, and that creates the chase. You get what I'm saying to you? Right. So that's also important. Now, I think what's key about this is that he never met her parents. Now, I think this is quite interesting. I think this is problematic personally. And I think it says more, whatever she may say, he may be acting more masculine or whatever. Okay. The reality is he never met her parents directly. Like the dad obviously didn't want to meet, didn't want to come to the wedding, etc. And obviously the dad hasn't met Shaq and didn't want to necessarily meet Shaq. And I was asking the question, how great could he be if he's so determined not to meet Shaq? Unless he knows something we don't know. So when you're bigging him up to be so great and you're putting that bar and that standard for Shaq, is giving you don't actually have much. And I'm going to say this is all due respect. So let me put this across. The way she consistently refers to her father being this super uber masculine person, it keeps telling me that you don't actually have much of a relationship with him. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's the way that she articulates and over-articulates that there's always a comparison between Shaq and her father. And it's giving you fantasize some of his role in a particular way that you've now made it a standard and made it the cusp. But the way you talk about it, it's like, So this man was so amazing, so great, but even now, when he's coming to your wedding, he won't turn up. Okay. Okay. Yeah. He might not be as great as you making it out to be. You are enlarging the photo, enlarging the resident. You're enlarging the imprint of what he actually did in her life. When she started talking about how he financially provided and then showed us the house, I was like, baby, it's a 2-bedroom house with 5, how many kids or whatever. I was like, baby, you suffering. You know what I'm saying? You suffering. Okay, so it's telling me that you don't actually know what masculinity is, and so you've defined it through your environment. And that's why I said about I'm not going to disagree necessarily with all the things that she said about, you know, him being more masculine. I think that we all agree he could use a bit more turn up on the masculinity part, right? But my question is, does she even really know what real masculinity actually is? Because it sounds like you've taken your definition from the environment you've been in, rather than actually you've been witnessing what you've seen as a masculine figure. Do you know what I'm saying to you? That's the part I'm like, you know, about what masculine presence actually is. So, and the way that she's so guarded tells me the masculine energy wasn't there in her life. Do you know what I'm saying? The masculine energy wasn't in her life. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay. You know, I was like, okay, cool. The dad situation is a bit much. It's you know, it's I don't think the dad is that great as she's making it out to be. As well. So something's weird, or she's hiding that situation. Oh, there was a family barbecue, was it? Family barbecue while Shaq was away too. Oh, is it? You know? Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fair. You know, I think again, I think also this situation, and I'll be honest as well about the Shaq situation too. Remember, he grew up around his mom and his sisters, you know, so he too will have much more feminine energy because he grew up around that energy. So so the uber masculine, if you're talking about that uber masculine, you know, I provide for everything, I buy everything, you know, you know, and you know, I protect and everything, like, you know what I mean, like that traditional uber masculine man. That's not Shaq because he didn't grow up around that per se. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So he wouldn't have that perspective. He'll have a perspective that's different, which is it's going to be more feminized. So that's what's going to show up. So the more emotional and the more in tune with his emotions, the more I need to be cared for is going to come through as well. Okay. You know, so you know, so yeah, I definitely understand that point too. I have to be very honest, I have to be very frank and very real about that. I can't deny that aspect as well of their conversation as well. Okay. You know, Jam said being guarded to me means using discretion. Open up slowly based on actions. I would think that would be benefit of having a present father. A present father who is healthy. And I want to make it that clear too. You can have a father, but it wasn't necessarily present. A healthy father too would put a person in a place where they're able to hold a good tension between being able to be slightly guarded whilst at the same time being able to be open, and they find the correct tension and balance between being open and also guarding their heart. And so this is where good leadership, fatherhood, emotional security comes in, because the child learns how to hold a good tension. Many of us don't, because we didn't come from a safe space. Let's be honest. Many of us don't because we didn't come from that safe space. You know, we weren't given a room to articulate or to feel what we feel without it being questioned and being cultivated to be right or wrong. And so a child who has a good father figure who's present, but also at the same time is emotionally present, means that child will know how to hold a good tension. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying to you? They'll hold a good tension. Right. So for me personally, her father situation is much deeper than she's letting out to be. I think she made it out to be more than it actually is. I don't think he's as present as she says he is. Personally, just go by what she said, or he's as great as she's saying he is. Because why would you not turn up? And then you still wouldn't see the husband after either. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right? The way that Kirsten's even, the way she's even presenting herself is telling me. And this is why I said about having good, healthy father figures. We need them. This is why we need men to be good father figures, why we need men to be healed, because you're going to pass on those skills and the way that you maneuver through the world. You're going to pass that on to your children, whether it's daughter or son. And especially the daughters, they are learning how to treat a man and how to be treated based on your treatment. And it's funny because sometimes men will do one of the two things. They will over pamper their daughters, or they will try to raise them like sons. And when you do those two things, you cause them issues, right? So you need to, this is where we have to keep a good balance. A good balance. So that was interesting, yeah, so that made me think about that situation there. And we know about Shaq's as well background, because he only had his mom and I think his sisters as well, and that is a big deal. That's a huge deal. I don't think anyone says that he hates I don't think anyone says he hates Kirsten at all. I don't think that would be anybody's kind of thought or viewpoint as well. So I don't think he hates her at all. But yeah, let me just play a little bit more.
What was it about the act of moving boxes that you found attractive?
Like, he's using his muscles, making sure, all of my things and his things are taken care of. Like, it was just him being masculine.
Now, again, see, this is really interesting because, again, like I said, sometimes masculine is the overarching branch of what you're trying to really get at. So she said, obviously, that when he's moving boxes, using his muscles and all that kind of stuff, she finds it to be very masculine and finds it very attractive. And really what that speaks to is the provider and the protector role. So when you're taking up the trash, or you're lifting up heavy items, or trying to when you're trying to let's say open up a pickle jar or whatever, right? It is the idea of masculinity. Again, it's the idea of masculinity being presented as he's masculine because he's able to protect, or he's able to provide in this moment. So for instance, it sounds like she has very caricature ways of dealing with masculinity and the stereotypical ways of masculinity. So he buys me a house, that would be masculine. If he opens up the car door, that will be automatically masculine. Like, when I say stereotypes and caricatures, what I really mean is like those stereotypical things, right? For instance, if he takes the trash out, he's masculine, but that's dependent upon the culture, right? In UK, everybody takes out the bin. Whether you're a boy or girl, everybody takes out the bin. This is not a man issue. It's not a woman issue, because in UK, when you take out the trash, you take out the trash. It stinks, take out the trash. Whether you're a man or woman, take out the trash. It's so interesting that in America, it's so interesting that in America, that there's almost a different culture. There are strong lines when it comes to this, which is really interesting as well from a UK perspective. Because like taking out trash is not a big deal. It's not. Take it out. It stinks. It's like the trash is not even going to be, unless the trash is really, really heavy and you can't carry it, just take it out. So culture can also play a part in how we see the defining roles of masculinity as well, right? So I felt like she was not able to put in the words that she wants to put. And again, what she may value as being masculine also too. For instance, him going to buy plants could be considered feminine from her perspective, which is why I was saying that she needs to have more of a conversation with the therapist, or so the coach, so we can get a better idea. Do you get what I'm saying to you? You know, and I think that's also very, very key. I think the key thing here is that there are things that he does that I think she doesn't see as masculine. Okay. And so that's maybe, and that's why I said that I feel like she has a very fantasized idea of masculinity a little bit, because I don't think she saw all she needs to see to be able to have a grasp of what she considers masculinity. I think she saw a little bit with her father figure, and, you know, and maybe the father figure. And again, if she's a firstborn, how guarded she is, that tells me that there probably wasn't much input from the father figure in terms of emotional safety, in terms of emotional connection. Because the way she's so overly guarded, it's like, yo, okay, I think that means that probably the parental figure, I'm talking about the father figure in this instance, might not necessarily have been emotionally as present as he needed to be, you know, so that's understandable. Okay. In that regard. So someone asked, why am I psychoanalyzing? Curse, why we should stop psychoanalyzing her. I don't think we should stop psychoanalyzing her. We psychoanalyze everybody on this channel, don't we? Right? So everybody gets psychoanalyzed, man or woman. You know, so don't worry about that, sweetheart. Okay, we're gonna psychoanalyze everybody on his thing. You know what I mean? We get it. And again, listen, I said this. Listen, I've already said this. Me personally, you know, I've also understood. I personally, like I said, even me, a little bit. You know, I questioned a little bit, because I said some of the things are a bit feminine in the way that he does certain things. You know, I'm not going to say he's not a man or he's not necessarily masculine. I'm saying I questioned some of that. I was like, whoa, that's a little bit soft for me. You know, it's a little bit soft for me. And I'll be honest with you, I have said that. You know, it's a little bit soft for me. So I'd understand. You know, I'd understand if, you know, I'd understand if, I know they want me to have a go at Shaq, isn't it? I understand. They want me to have a go at Shaq. When I was defending Kirsten, they weren't saying nothing. So I'm gonna continue, because when I was defending her and putting several videos out, trying to understand where she's coming from, nobody felt no way. So we'll continue. Don't worry about them. We'll continue. You know what I mean? If you want to have a go at Shaq, you guys have a go at Shaq. I will continue what I'm doing. When I was defending Kirsten, you didn't come in and say, come and defend Shaq as well. You didn't say that to me. So why are you telling me to stop now? We're going to continue, Joy. Oh, Joe, come on, get out of here. We're going to continue. When I was defending Kirsten, nobody came out from the woman's side and said, oh, defend Shaq as well while you're there. You didn't say that. When I'm now telling you about Kirsten, you're now suddenly crying about the fact I'm coming at Kirsten, psychoanalysis. If you don't get out of here, Joe, get out of here. Oh, stop that nonsense. You're crying about I'm psychoanalyzing, dear bang. When I was saying things that were pretty about Kirsten and defending her in the last few videos, were you there to tell me to come and defend Shaq? You wasn't there. Oh, get out, Joe. Get off. Stop playing with us. Stop playing with us. You understand? You. Stop being a sweet girl. Okay? Behave yourself. You understand? But all jokes aside, like, see, Miss Ione, that's the point, Miss Ione. See, if you didn't see, and this is really important. I did two or three videos where I was explaining where Kirsten was coming from and her understanding. Do you know why you missed it? Because you're focused on something else. You're almost focused and wanting me to be attacking Kirsten, and I'm not attacking Kirsten. So you will miss it. Go back and check it. It's there. It's there. Go and check it. Oh yeah, go and check it. It's very much there. Even on the lives, I was defending her. Come on now. Come on, Joe. Come on, stop that nonsense. Come on, Joe. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I'm not gonna reiterate what I said on the thing. Go and check the video. Yeah, the video out there. Go and get it. When I was defending her, you didn't fin away. I didn't fin away when I was defending the Kirstens some weeks ago. You were happy. You guys were happy. I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, not by saying she's pretty. I didn't say about being pretty. No, not at all. No, that was not how I defended her. You understand? So if you don't know what it is, you have to go and watch it. I'm not going to explain it on this live for you. Go and watch it. It's there. Go and check it. Anyway, so and that's the point. I don't think we have to always. I always try to hold two sides. You know what I mean? I don't always want to hold two sides, but the reality is we have somebody who's more of an offender in this particular case. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's more of an offender in this particular case, and she's struggling to articulate. She's struggling to articulate what she actually really wants. And this is why I said that language is so important, because an inability to express leads you into actions that you oftentimes don't want to do, right? It's a bit like when people fail to express, oh, I want a man to put me in my place. Well, when you say you want a man to put you in your place, that's a failure to express accurately what you actually wanting. But you really need somebody who's going to be more assertive, not put you in your place. So language is important. You know, language is important, right? Sean said, I hope I get recognized for my restraint. Negro, they ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it, bro. No, they ain't gonna do it, bro. They ain't gonna do it, bro. They ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it, bro. You know, you know, you know. Oh man, I'm playing. But you know, I think personally, you know, I think as well with the situation, as I said, I had a bit more sympathy for Shaq as well, because I had a bit more sympathy for Shaq because when someone rejects you initially, coming back from that, it's very difficult, right? Coming back from that's very difficult. And I said the exact same thing for Shaq. I said for Jasmine too. I said, well, I gave this thing about Shaq. Well, Shaq, you want out, get out. Stop trying. Because then you're doing two things. You can't have your foot in both arenas. Either you want to be done, or you're gonna if you're gonna continue, you gotta keep pressing forward. Choose one of the two. That's my only thing about this situation with you know, situation with Shaq, is that if you're pressing forward, press forward. If you're not pressing forward, then just say, I don't want to be doing this no more. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Jasmine. It's like you're complaining about him not doing this thing, but you want to be out. And I'm not even saying that you can't even, you know, I know that they have to try and keep him in because of contract situation. So we get it. All right. You know, but when you want to be out, be out. Do you know what I'm saying? Rather than complaining about the person's not trying. Well, now you're not trying. Now you don't want to try. So then be out. You know what I mean? So be out. That's what I'm saying. The same thing for Shaq. I said the same thing for Jasmine as well. So, you know, for me personally. Someone said so let's talk about Shaq rejecting Kirsten when she asked for a kiss. Did he reject her? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Did he? Did he? I don't know. Did he do that? Did he reject a kiss? I haven't seen the episode, so I haven't seen this latest episode. I've only seen part of it. So I can't roll the tick because I've not watched the episode. So did he reject Kirsten for the kiss? Oh, he rejected it. What, in bed? He pushed her away. Oh, okay. He hung up before she can air kiss him on the phone. Yeah, it's a little bit sassy. Can't lie to you. You know, it's a little bit sassy. Okay. Oh, okay. He was mad that they didn't go on a trip and he didn't give a kiss. Whoa, listen, ladies, let's call this out, right? Let's call this out. Okay, let's call this out. Let's call this out. I want you to hold yourself to the same account. I'm gonna hold the ladies to account now. If you feel this behavior is not justified, I need you to hold. I need you to hold the same account, because when we had this conversation a months back about how women, when they feel some type of way, do you expect us to want to have sex with you when we're now in a mood? Remember this. I want you, as you're holding him to account, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm going to agree with you. I'm not gonna disagree with you. I'm gonna agree with you, right? If he shouldn't have done that because he's in a mood. Okay. All right. So he shouldn't have done that if he's in the mood. Now, let me just say this. If he's wrong for this, I want you to hold yourself to the same account. Because when we had this conversation about how men want sex and in a relationship, and women said, well, when we're not in the mood, we're not in the mood. When you've made me angry, what do you expect? I'm angry now. I'm not going to give you a kiss. When we were saying, well, that's not how you should behave, you guys said, well, we feel justified because, you know, you've made us feel this way. If that's the case, that's good. I'm not gonna disagree with you. You know, okay? So I'm not gonna disagree with you. If you're saying this is not the right way to behave, if that's what you're saying, I'm just saying, I'll use that what you're saying, then I can hold you to account. Just asking. Is that what are we saying that when you feel some type of way, no, when you feel some type of way, when you feel like you're some type of way, can I now say, I don't want to blow you an air kiss right now? Can I ignore you? Can I push you off? Can I ignore the gesture of the attention and affection you just give me in that moment? And the reason why I'm saying this is because y'all know, and this is why I said to you on that live that if you go and watch it, we said about it, y'all know that behavior ain't great. That behavior is not the right way to behave. It's not. See, when you see it in men and men doing it, you call it out. And I agree. And I'm saying to you, I actually agree with you. And this is exactly why we're saying to women, when you do it, it becomes a power play when you do it. Just saying, but I'm not in the mood. Because you've put me out of the mood. Well, if that's the case, she put him out the mood. She put him out the mood. Okay? She put him out the mood. He's justified in his actions. Why shouldn't he? Why should he blow her a kiss back when she's annoyed him? Why should I give you a kiss back? Why should I do that? Why should I be lovey-dovey with you when you've pissed me off? Why would I want to do that? All right, because I should be dutiful in this moment. It shouldn't be about feelings. It should be about duty. That if we're trying to maintain the love that we have in a relationship, I shouldn't behave like that, which is correct. I shouldn't behave like that. This is what we're calling out. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, whoo-hoo. You know? Mm-hmm. It's not right. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. Now you see it's not right. You now know better. You can see Shaq is behaving in an inappropriate way when it comes to relationship, when it comes to him, and you've called him sassy and he's salty for rejecting her in that moment. Just know that applies to you when you do the exact same thing. Just know that applies to you that does the same thing. You don't get a pass. Just know. You don't get a pass. So when you start doing it in your relationship, just remember you had that conversation. Remember you were out here saying, Shaq is doing this. Just remember at the same time, if you're doing the exact same thing in your relationship, you ain't no different. You don't get a pass because you're a woman. You have to put us in the mood. B, he's not in the mood now. What do you want to do? You pissed him off. What do you want him to do? Right? You've pissed him off. What do you want him to do now? Yeah? What do you want him to do? It's not the right thing to do. That's the whole point. It's not the right thing to do. And that's what we are saying about behavior. Good behavior is how we want. What we want is proper behavior, right? Someone said we are sassy. We are sassy. And that's the problem. See, the sassiness here is not a good thing. In this particular instance, when it comes to behavior like this, when we're talking about relationship, this ain't the thing to do. When you're wrapped up in your feelings and you're rejecting somebody, you can see how painful it is. You're looking at Kirsten and saying, this is really painful to see this happen. And I'm telling you, this is how men feel when you do the exact same thing. Just saying. Now, I know the women not going to like it, and they ain't gonna agree with me, and I don't care. Because I'm telling you, if you're doing the thing, if you're telling me that I shouldn't do something and you're doing the exact same thing, it's exactly what I'm talking about. It's not good ethics how to behave in a relationship. It's not about even trying to be the same. I don't want him to behave like this. I don't want him to behave like this. I think it's not the correct way to behave. It's not the correct thing to behave like this at all. I do not want him to behave like this. I'm actually agreeing with you and saying the behavior is wrong. I'm agreeing with you and saying the behavior is wrong. Right? And I'm saying to you now, but if you're doing the exact same thing in your relationship because you got caught up in your feelings when he tries to say, I'm going to give you a good night kiss, goodbye, and you go, no, then you are also calling out your own behavior. You're calling out your own behavior. And so I'm saying to you, hold yourself to account. Hold yourselves to account. Okay? I know it's going to frustrate some of you guys, but don't worry. You're going to be okay. You're going to live long. Okay? You're going to live long as well. So don't worry about it, sweetheart. Okay? You're going to live long. Okay? Yeah? Okay? So, yes. If that's what Shaq did, I don't agree with it at all. Right? I don't agree with it at all. Don't start, being in your feels and stuff. But I'll try and watch the episode so I can get the fullness of that as well. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say to you. I'm trying to get you to see that sometimes when you do things to men, y'all be thinking that it don't affect us and that you get to do it because you're a woman. I'm a woman, so I get to do it. It's like, no, it's not that. It hurts people when we do this behavior. And so when you see a man do it, you should see that actually, if I'm doing the same thing, well, this actually might be a little bit painful. I'm not even talking about sex. I'm talking about even kisses. I'm just talking about kisses too. It's not even just about sex. It's about any form of intimacy or affection. The same thing happens, right? So my point is that if you're seeing that you feel that his behavior was wrong for saying no to that kiss to her, just know that when you are saying this thing, hold yourself to the same account. If a man then goes to kiss, if your man then goes to kiss you and I'm not in the mood, don't be complaining. Don't be complaining saying that. Don't be saying that it's wrong behavior now about Shaq if you do the exact same thing. So I'm saying to you, hold yourself to account. Okay? Hold yourself to account. Hold yourself to account. Okay? I believe men are leaders. We should do better. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to follow your lead. I'm not going to follow doing that as well. Okay? Yeah. Oh, is it? So he rejected her emotionally and physically. Is that wrong? Is it wrong for him to do that? Is it wrong for him to do that? Has Jasmine kind of left Aris now? Did she reject him as well? So it's wrong. Okay, cool. So we now know this is not the behavior we should be doing. I agree with you. If you're gonna stay there, you need to be open. This is it. If you're gonna stay there, you need to be open. Same thing for Jasmine too. Jasmine is still in that situation with Aris. She needs to be open. I need to hear the ladies. I need to hear the ladies in agreement with me right now. If Jasmine is there, she needs to be open too. You know what I mean? I appreciate Miss Ione. You're keeping it 100, and for that, I'm with you. You understand? Yeah, and I respect that. You know, so you know what I mean? Like if we're gonna hold one, we have to hold the same, right? Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm kind of saying. You can't ask her to open up to you and then turn her away when she does. That's fair. I agree. Jasmine is not in a different situation. No, man. She's not in a different situation, man. You know, it's not a different situation. So, you know, I don't want it to be it's not, I'm not doing tit for tat. I want to make it very clear. I want to be able to make it so you understand you are not free to behave anyhow based on your gender. Do you see what I'm saying to you? If I'm saying to the men they can't behave a certain way, I'm saying to you, you can't behave a certain way. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you get to get away with certain things because you're a woman. Because if you're saying that, then we have to also say that, well, boys will be boys. And we know that when we say boys will be boys, this only breeds negative behavior. When we say boys are boys, this is not beneficial for relationships. So when we start saying girls can do certain things, girls are meant to be sassy, that's when we start going into very dangerous places. We're starting to say, okay, then if I'm going to say, then the boys can be boys then. So the boys can be boys then. I'm pointing out that in that hypocrisy so that we understand and we can see it straight. If I say boys will be boys, we know where that leads to. There's a building block of behaviors that leads to. When we start saying with women too, about relationship, we have to understand as well, you can't just do whatever you want to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? You can't just do whatever you want to do. Okay? So, and we're talking about in terms of a relationship. I'm not asking, if I we're not talking about roles. We're talking about how we behave to one another. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Common decency, common levels of how I treat you. You know what I mean? How do I treat you? Do I treat you with respect? You know, do I treat you in that way? We're talking about those foundational things, not whether he pays more, she pays. Those are things that have to do with the role, but we're talking about you as an individual person. You as an individual person, how do you relate to your partner in that situation? And that one is not male or woman. Nobody likes disrespect. Nobody likes being spoken to wrongly. Like, for instance, I disagree the way that sometimes he tries to school her. And that's caused an issue or two with him and her. Him trying to school her it's caused a lot of issues. The way he talks and his tone at points, it's almost as if you're the student, I'm the chairman. That is not going to derive any sexual energy at all. That's going to cause conflict. That's going to, and especially when she doesn't like control, when she feels like she has to be in control, that's going to cause her to pull away, you know? So that's also really important as well, you know? So that's important too, you know? That's very true, bro. That's very true. If you're fine, you can get away with some things, man. Trust me, brag.
How do you define masculinity?
Honestly, just getting the job done. Like, just making for sure he's taking care of business.
Do you think he's masculine?
God damn. Nah, that pause right there, done diddy the dod. Damn dilly dods. Ah, man. You know? Nah, damn dilly dod. You know? Damn dilly dodge. Wow. Do you know? Oh, man. Damn dilly dodge. That is madness right there. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah, that's political. When she dropped that bar, man's face, I will be showing my tail here, bruv.
He is.
This brother is so hurt. This guy looked at her wig and said, if I remove your wig right now, what will happen? You know what I mean? If I remove your wig right now, what will happen? I think and that's what I said about language is so key. Many people can ruin a relationship or cause so much rupture within a relationship based on language. I don't think she was even wrong I know where she was aiming for. She was aiming for, look, when he does these things, it makes me more attractive. She was on the right path from there. And then when she went to the masculine aspect, yeah, that finished it. That was dead. He looked at her wig piece and said, if I remove your wig piece, if I remove the tracks from your head, the way you'll be sprinting around this place, you're telling me I'm not masculine. Let me show you masculinity right now. In his head, I'm knowing in his head, he's thinking, let me show you masculinity right now. Let me show you what masculine is. You understand? Yeah? He said, let me shift that wig front for you, because the way you're talking right now, you're acting as if your wig front is secured. Let me show you how unsecure it is. You understand? Like, you know, it's political right now. Like, because his brother is looking at her like, wow, is this a person I'm really feeling right now?
There was a long pause.
And so, again, learning how to learning how to learning how to learn how to actually learning how to really talk and give language is really important. Like, language really is important. They said snatching wigs is not masculine. That's true. That's true. I hate what you're saying. I hate what you're saying. Y'all. Okay, you lot can have that one. I'll take that one. I'll take that one on the chin. I'll take that one on the chin. So so in the situation with Shaq and Kirsten, she's looking at him, he's looking at her, and I think, again, if the language was correct, this could be delivered in a better way. This could have been delivered in a better way. You know what I mean? This could have been. This really could have been delivered better. I think this could have been this could have been a really good conversation in terms of how we break things down. I remember this is a funny thing, because I remember when my first ever girl, I shouldn't say it's that, but that highlights people, whatever they are. But one of my girls that I was dating back in the day, I remember in the midst of a conversation, she was like, I just want you to be what did she say? Basically, it's something similar. I'll say that, yeah. It was something similar that she said around what was said to what was said to Shaq was also said to me in a similar sense. And I remember at the time I was pissed off. I was like, wait, what? What the hell? I was like, wait, what are you talking about? So I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And because it was in the midst of a kind of, I guess, a truth-telling session, right? But looking back on it, and I'll be very honest as well, looking back on it, right? I know what she was trying to say. And this is what I think. It's so funny. The same thing she was saying is the same thing that Kirsten is saying. And when I look at the family dynamics, I can understand what happens and why this becomes a thing, right? So, for instance, when she said about him lifting up something or these are the tropes of masculinity and the tropes of strength and the tropes of protection, in a sense, right? And so when she says, obviously, like, wanting him to be more masculine and, describe some of the attributes of picking up stuff and doing that, right? That's an aspect of strength. You know what I mean? So physical strength now being represented as masculinity. But we know that not all men are strong. Not all men are strong. So it's that trope there. And what they're asking for is someone to do something that was different to what they saw their father do. And this is where it's really important. The fight actually isn't necessarily with Shaq. It is with the father. Yeah, it's with the father. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So the father is the actual issue, because how they view the father, they're actually asking for the man to make up for the father. So the tropes kick in. Do you know what I mean? So the tropes kick in. So it's interesting how that conversation comes about in terms of for Kirsten and Shaq. Language is the key thing. Because I remember the situation with my girl when she was like, I love when you say, for instance, go and when I think one time I said to her, listen, I said, it's cold, go and grab your coat. And she was like, no, I'll be all right. I said, no, go and grab your coat now. Right? She was like, that's what I like. But at the time, that's not me. Do you know what I mean? At the time, that's not me. Because that's not the kind of energy I was carrying at that particular time. I'm going to be very honest with you. You know, I never lie. You know, I always tell the truth. That wasn't me at that time. I was a nice guy, not a good guy per se, more of a nice guy. I was very in touch with my emotions, a very loving person, but also at the same time, I was a yes man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was a yes person. So, in that space, I can understand where she was coming from. I'm a bit more of a yes person. What she couldn't articulate at that young age is, I need you to have boundaries, because I feel like I'm walking all over you sometimes, and I feel like you will say yes to me. I feel like, you know what, you don't take control, which makes me feel like you're not protecting me. This is the language you need to get to. We need to get to a more mature language, because saying someone's not masculine actually isn't solving the issue. What the person really saying is, when you don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, when he's picks up something, it makes her feel like, you know what? He's providing for me and protecting me. Right? That's the link. Okay? That's the link. But if I'm not doing those things, how it's going to be interpreted is going to be really different. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So when I was that young, that's not on my mind. My mind's not thinking that way. My mind is thinking, I've got emotions, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't hurt my feelings, don't say anything that's going to hurt me. Like, I can be very sensitive. And, listen, by all means, right? That by all means, what I understand what she's saying later on, but in the moment, those words that she used were incorrect, because it didn't actually explain what she was actually saying. I couldn't see the link. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Until later on. Oh, that's what she meant. Oh, that's what she meant. So there is going to be some work that he's going to have to do. Okay, there is going to be some work he's going to have to do, if I'm looking at it correctly, in terms of holding good, strong boundaries, making sure you're able to articulate yourself without it becoming an argument, being able to say something straight and without it becoming petty or becoming a jab. So if I'm saying something to you and I disagree with you, I don't have to make it a jab. You know what I mean? I can disagree with you and tell you, hey, I disagree with you, and not make it a jab. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Yeah. So I can see where she's coming from. It's a language aspect. It's a language. You know what I mean? Language. And so that language is going to be really key. Language is key as well. So this is a important as well. So at the same time, whilst I'm saying that I don't like what she said, I also understand where she's coming from, but I keep coming back to it. Where she needs to work on is a language piece. Otherwise, you're going to keep saying things in relationships that are going to hurt people's feelings. And when people get feelings hurt, trust me, how they do things, that's very true. Right? That's very true. That's very true. I agree that. Semantics. Yes, semantics, but if you understand how relationships break down because of communication, you can't just say semantics. The person has to understand where you're coming from. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Or someone has to interpret what's being said. That's what I was expecting. That's what I was expecting the therapist to do. Interpret what she's saying and redistribute it. But she didn't do that. Or at least that's what I didn't see in the clip. I don't know if she done that later on. Did she do that later on? Right? Did she do that later on? You know? So my thing is redistribute it, break it down so that it's understood. Because if it stays at you're not masculine, I'm telling you now, you say that to any man, you're gonna have an issue. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So then what the job of the third party was to break what she said down and then be like, okay, you're saying he's not masculine. Okay, you've said these things are masculine to you. So when he does this, this is what we mean masculinity means to you. Okay, great. So it's understood to him. You know what I mean? So that's why. So I was just like, yeah, you know, can be a little bit tough out there. So it's a break it down so we're forever broken. Yeah, it's just so that person understands, you know. But yeah, true, JR, man, true. Very, very true. You know, and you know, I think you know, I think emasculations is really, it's easy to see. It's easy. I think from our male perspective, it's easy to see. I think for women, they find it harder to see what's emasculating because oftentimes they don't get called out on it. You know, so I can understand. If you don't say anything, then you won't necessarily know that this is emasculation. Sometimes, you know, So I'll be that. You know. Yeah. Be like that. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave it now because obviously we've got to go. We've got the live later on. You can argue amongst yourselves in the comment section. Disagree, agree. We don't mind. Do you know what I'm saying? You want to have that conversation in the chat? Do go ahead and do so. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hey, don't forget. Don't forget. Listen. Grab your merchandise, okay? Grab your merchandise. Look, don't play with me. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Okay? Don't play with it. Okay? Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. We got the new merch. I want you guys to be involved. Grab yours. You've been hearing sit on the bench for time. Now's the time to grab your thing. If you're on, especially if you're on the bench. If you're on the bench. If you've been red carded, if you've been sent to the stands, then you need the merchandise, baby. Grab yours. Okay, grab yours if you need it. You know what I'm saying? Listen. If you're on the bench, like most of us are, my friend, go and grab your merchy. Okay, go and grab your merchy, baby. Okay, all right, go and grab your merchy. Okay, yeah. But yeah, listen. It's a madness out here, kids. It's a madness out here. You know, and yeah, man. We gonna talk about it. All right, cool. So appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. All right. So don't do anything I wouldn't do, baby. We'll see you in about an hour, almost like 35 minutes time. We'll see you in that time, okay? Appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon.
Get out of here. Get out of here, man.